I consider myself Asian. 3, 2, 1.
I think that that's a very thought-provoking statement to make because I might look Asian for sure, but my culture, my cultural values, my morals, my perspectives, my experiences as well, they might not be fully Asian. So I do slightly agree, but I don't fully agree.
I do consider myself Asian. However, all the values I've mentioned before, as like I always like to go and do things that are outside of my culture. But at the same time, I do like to pay full respect to my culture, and I also like to enjoy my own culture as well. But at the same time, I'm also free to go out and enjoy other things and aspects of life. So I don't really try to restrict myself to just one culture. But yes, I do consider myself Asian, but I just like to enjoy other people's nationalities and other cultures throughout.
I somewhat agree. I think myself being brought up in a very westernized type culture, based off like the movies that we watch, the food that we eat, that kind of stuff. But obviously on the basis that I am in my blood Asian, but I guess the kind of way that we're brought up might not kind of seem, or we might not feel as Asian as we look per se.
People expect me to be smart. 3, 2, 1.
I think from what my culture is, coming from like a Indian background, parents usually want their kids to be well educated. So having, I guess, a university degree is an expectation within my family personally, and I'm actually the only one out of my sisters to go to uni and need completion as well. So that's something that I have to live up to.
I would say I slightly disagree, just because I feel like growing up as a halfie, no one really knew what I was, so there wasn't that big expectation apart from my family that had that expectation on me.
You kind of said exactly what I was going to say. Both of my parents are very highly educated, but because I'm from Uzbekistan and most people don't even know that that's a country, they don't really have preconceived expectations or judgments. So, yeah, I guess I have to disagree in my case.
Yeah, so I agree and disagree because I think growing up when I was young, like all my mates expected me to be smart because I was Asian, but like the environment around me expected me to be smart, but my parents, I think they didn't expect me to, but they were strict because I guess being educated like can get you ahead in life. So that's why I sit in the middle.
I do have to agree in a sense. So like I did come from a very strong and competitive school in the past, as well as going to prestigious university and able to graduate with a degree. But the thing is that the thing I have to disagree and why I sit in the middle is because like, sure we can be book smart, sure we can be educated from the books, but things like how's that going to apply in real life? And the thing is that when I went out into the real world and I went into corporate life when I was the age of 20, I just didn't feel that I was that smart in the sense where I was able to solve problems in the real world, and that I'd rather get more experience from doing what I love and doing what I think suits me the best. And I feel that in a way I'd have to be neutral in this sense, because at the end of the day, whether we are educated from all books or whether we're educated from whatever research or getting good grades doesn't really reflect how successful we are in life. And so in terms of smartness, I feel that I could really develop more of the smartness in a sense on where I could handle more situations a lot more carefully rather than just being educated by the books.
I strongly agree that in my family that you have to be, as I'm the oldest in my family and in my bloodline, that I have to be in the right footsteps so everyone else can follow. So it does bring a lot of pressure on my shoulders, but as long as I'm doing right and doing what I have to do, then there's no problem. But there is a lot of pressure coming from parents, grandparents, family members, always asking like, are you getting better? Or are you, improving in life? How's your work going? How's the money going? Everyone's asking. And there is a lot of pressure, but, what can you do? You can either be in the pressure or fold under pressure.
I prefer to date within my own race. 3, 2, 1.
Me personally, I prefer to date outside of the Asian kind of circle. I don't know, man. I love white girls. I guess everyone has their own kind of taste of what they like, you know. And personalities aside and whatnot, people prefer how other people look, and it's just the way that human nature kind of is. So, me personally, I prefer to date outside of the Asian bracket.
Okay, so I do have to agree with him in a sense because like I've definitely dated outside of my race, and I'll be honest with you, I've only dated like white girls ever since. And personally, it's like I don't really have a preference for race, and I'm not really restricted to a specific type. The only thing that matters to me the most is that whether we share the same values, the same culture, and also whether we have the same personalities that align with each other. Because at the end of the day, it's more about the personality and the compatibility within each other that makes us connect. And I prefer to have someone who has a much more deeper connection over someone who just wants me just because of my race. And personally, I feel like I don't want to restrict myself too much, and I feel like I want to go out there and explore more cultures even as often as possible. I don't know, maybe I like black girls, maybe I like white girls, maybe I like Asian girls, whoever the case may be, as long as we vibe the same, as long as we have to share the same values, and as long as we're able to connect and have a healthy relationship with each other. And that's the most important thing in a relationship over just having a race type.
The reason that I said disagree is because one of the things that I value is I love learning, I love languages, and I especially love traveling and learning about other cultures. That's one of my passions. So I love dating people from completely random different places because I love learning about their experiences and their beautiful cultures. So, yeah.
I've definitely dated outside of my own culture, and I feel like 9 out of 10 times it always boils down to cultural or religious conflict. So not saying that I find my own race as a comfort zone, but it's more to do with, I guess, my future and like kids and having the same values and traditions and having a partner who understands where I come from, so that way there's no confusion for, I guess, my own kids.
So both my parents are from different races, so I haven't really felt that pressure or that or like pressure on myself to date specifically, just because I'm exposed to both sides. But I would say I'm just more open, and for me it's more so the personality and just getting along with whoever it is that I'm dating.
My parents are overprotective and strict. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I think I disagree with that just because from my upbringing, growing up as a kid, I grew up in an industry that my family's involved in that I guess a lot of kids at my school weren't allowed to go to, and a lot of parents were like they're sort of against their industry. And I don't know, my dad got me working there or helping him out from the age of 16 really. And besides that, I guess they're protective, making sure that I'm safe and I'm smart in my actions, but as an overall, what I'm doing in life compared to others, I don't see it that strict. So yeah, I disagree. They've been pretty free with me.
So I guess my family would be the exception to this because the whole reason that my mum brought me and my whole family over to Australia from Uzbekistan is she wanted me to have all the freedoms in the world that maybe she couldn't. And so from a very early age, she instilled in me an incredible work ethic and a sense of independence and freedom that I'm really thankful for, that I guess she couldn't have when she was growing up.
I'm sitting here in the middle. My parents are a bit both ways. I grew up with a single mum, so she was always overprotective, always asking where I'm going. She just wanted to always know where I'm at. But she's a bit of both, where she'll agree, but she'll disagree, and she'll disagree but agree. So it's always in the middle with Indian parents. They're always worried what you're doing and what you're up to, and then that's about it.
Okay, so the reason why I'm in this position where I'm in the middle between the neutral and the strongly agree is mainly because that I grew up in a very strict background and a very competitive background where all of my family, friends, kids are going into prestigious universities and also having prestigious careers like doctors, lawyers, and dentists, the stereotypical type of an Asian. And the thing is that my parents tried to raise me in a way where they wanted me to follow their path. And whilst I did try to follow that path, I felt that there was just not much enjoyment. But the matter of the fact is that I feel like sometimes I feel like my personal freedom and my space has been violated quite a couple of times throughout my childhood. And I felt that it kind of hindered some of my personal growth, such as going out into the real world and trying to explore what the real world is really like. So I was, in a sense, very sheltered and very awkward, and I couldn't really develop the proper social skills to go out there. So that's the reason why I'm here right now. It was only then when I left university, or throughout the final years of my university, that I began to explore within my heart more and explore within myself more. And even though my parents are still quite strict about it, such as texting me where I'm at or what type of job I'm doing, I still feel that in the sense that my growth has been restricted. But at the same time, it's like they're slightly more free about it right now. But at the same time, it's like they're generally concerned for my future, which is something that I will have to agree with them. But at the same time, it's like I wouldn't be where I'm at if I didn't go with my gut instinct. And so pretty much like where in the strictest kind of sense, yes, I was raised in a strict manner until eventually I had to find a way how to break out of it.
Asian people look down on other ethnic groups. 3, 2, 1.
So I personally don't. However, I've obviously experienced and been around people that do, and that in itself was an incredibly jarring experience to go through, right? Because it didn't align with my values or my morals, but it was something that was constantly pushed upon me, right? I personally, my experience is that I moved out of home when I was 16, 17, so I was able to disassociate from a lot of what I had learned and a lot of from what I had heard, but I absolutely know that there are still people out there that think that way, so disappointing, but I think it's up to us to change that.
I think in a sense with the new generation coming in, I feel like discrimination is becoming a bit less and less, especially when we now starting to see other races as towards equals and also ensuring that we all treat the same way. And personally, I don't know if I had to go through this, but I've never been looked down upon anyone and I've never been looked down upon other people. And so pretty much I kind of have this disagree in the sense where everyone is equal in any form of way, regardless of race. But the most important factor is, of course, like I mentioned before, personality is what shines through in this matter. So personally, I don't think nationality has anything to do with this, so we don't have to look down on each other.
I resent my Asian parents. 3, 2, 1.
So for sure, there are so many things that now that I'm older, I wish that my parents had done differently to raise me. But I also think that part of growing up is realizing that our parents are only human, and they also had a lot of generational trauma passed on to them. And all of our parents will give us trauma. It's just inevitable. And there's no point in resenting them for it. They're only human. The only thing you can do is try to heal from it and not continue the cycle. So
I strongly have to agree in a sense though. But however, with my upbringing, I felt that, again, as I mentioned before, my lifestyle was just way too restrictive. And the way how my parents communicated to me what was right, what was wrong was completely over the board, where they would actually discipline me with the usual stick and also try to limit me from certain activities to ensure they have a better future for me. And I do have to understand them in a sense, but I feel like the way how they raised me was to the point where I started to resent them quite a lot because I felt that majority of my childhood and I felt that majority of what I wanted to go out and explore and the majority of my development in where I wanted to be and what I wanted to become has been completely hindered. For me, I've always wanted to become a singer and a dancer similar to BTS and Chris Brown. And that was my childhood dream when I was so young, but it's just the fact that they've put me in an environment where they restricted my true self is the reason why I have to sort of resent them. But at the same time, it's like I'm still trying to take action within myself and still try to take responsibility within myself to make sure that I'm able to get the lifestyle that I want. But at the same time, it's like we have to understand that all the parents want the best for us. I just felt that it would have been communicated a lot more better in a sense where everyone could come to an even standpoint and not just having to rely on just academics and books and having to have this prestigious lifestyle or prestigious career in order to have a successful life. And that is something that will continue to like resent towards today, but one day I do hope that this will all come to an end once I hit the life that I've always wanted, and I'm still trying to take actions and still trying to work hard on all of everything that I've lost and everything that I've not developed, and then eventually I'll get to where I want to be.
Yeah, pretty much I disagree with having resentment for my family because, I don't know, since a young age they've always been around and they've given me everything that I've wanted, and I've been very fortunate with my upbringing where, to me, they're my family, and family's blood, and blood you love. And yeah, I've never seen anything they did as a harmful or negative way towards me. Everything was for the best or because they love and care for me. So yeah, I don't have any resentment for my family.
I feel like there's no way I could resent my family. My family's awesome. I love my parents, even though, you know, they might be hard on me from time to time and demonstrate tough love. It is what it is, you know. Life is good, family is good, and yeah, what can I say?
I have experienced bullying because of my Asian background. 3, 2, 1.
Personally, I haven't been bullied in terms of race or ethnicity. I don't think I've been bullied in general. Like, I'm grateful to say that because I know a lot of South Asian people do get bullied for certain aspects of their culture. So yeah, I don't relate to this question.
I haven't experienced bullying, but I have experienced, and even to this day, still experience what I think is maybe ignorance and people just like little comments that I wouldn't call them racism, but I would say are ignorant comments.
I think perhaps what I've experienced the most is micro-racism, right? Like boiling down to, as an example, even fetishizing is a form of racism, no? And I grew up in a predominantly white Western state, and I was always coined as that Asian girl, right? Like guys would be like, oh, I've never been attracted to an Asian girl, blah, 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 blah. And even that I feel like is quite stereotypical. So even though I've not point blank experienced racism like on the bus or on the street, I still feel it too.
I've experienced bullying quite a lot, especially during primary school, with my Indian background and my name too, as in being a Hindu name, with my Hindu last name, my Hindu first name, my Hindu middle name. But you know, once you grow up, it all changes. But you know, people always are quick to judge you for, you know, judge a book by its cover for what you look like, what you are. You know, they can all call you all different type of names, as in curry muncher and, you know, all those words. But it all comes down to that one day where you put that bully on show and you tell him that, you know, enough's enough.
I feel like for me it's a bit different because I was brought up and went to high school in Fiji. So for me being half white, there was bullying in that sense where they would just assume that like I was partying and doing all these, I don't know, these preconceived ideas of what people do in movies. So it's kind of different, like not so much on my Asian side, but the other half. So I don't really have a proper answer. I'm kind of in the middle.
I remember in school growing up, I used to get like 4, 5 out of like 50 on my math test. And everyone used to be like, what the fuck, man? Sorry. Like, what the hell, man? Like, you're Asian. Like, why aren't you, like, getting, like, full marks, you know? And it kind of made me, like, actually hate being Asian growing up. Because people used to, like, be like, oh, like, got small eyes or, you know, small. But, yeah, but you kind of, like, as you get older, you accept it. and you embrace it, and it becomes a part of you. And I'm lucky enough to be able to have a career based off my ethnicity. So I think it always works out. Embrace who you are and live life and have fun. And yeah, go team.
I just wanted to add from what you said, because you brought up like racism against yourself. I don't know if any of you guys struggle with this as well, but I have so much internalized racism. It's something that I'm still working and healing to this day, but I don't think that we talk about that enough. Of like, when I was growing up, I wished so bad that I was white with blonde hair and blue eyes. And now that I'm older, I'm learning to embrace how I look. And I love the fact that I'm from this crazy country called Uzbekistan that nobody knows what the hell it is. But yeah, growing up, I desperately, all of the things that I hated about myself were the things that made me not white.
I am proud to be Asian. 3, 2, 1.
I think I am. But this is keeping in mind that I didn't start feeling comfortable being Asian until I was 23, and I'm 25 now. And I think that it is, like, I'm still on a journey of like self-development and figuring out what I value and what I want and who I want to be around. But I do step just a little bit towards the slightly agree side, because I'm still not set on my answer. I'm proud to be Asian, but I'm also proud of the values that I've formed and the opinions that I've formed on my own, experiencing different cultures and different people as well.
I totally agree with you. I feel like when we were younger, we all wanted to fit in desperately. And the fact that we felt Australian, but we don't look Australian, was something that really messed me up in my head, kind of. Especially because, in the 2010s when I was growing up, all of the media was very, like, the beauty standard was very Eurocentric. It was mainly white girls, and even on Disney Channel or social media, you didn't see people of color, you didn't see diversity. However, now I feel like the world is shifting a little bit. It's kind of cool to be different now, and where, there's more diversity in what we see as beautiful. So I hope that it only gets better from here.
Yep, so both of them said very important points that I agree in a sense though. And so personally, me growing up, it's like, because of where I've grown up with all the strict values of studying and all that, I felt that I didn't really enjoy wanting to be Asian, but then as soon as I began to grow older, I began to embrace more of it. And then as soon as I looked deeper into my culture and differences between other cultures, I feel like I started to appreciate my culture a lot more. And I feel that I am proud to be Asian in a way where I'm able to do things that other people don't really have within their culture. But at the same time, I feel like, just like I said, I like to go and explore outside. But there are also certain cuisines that I enjoy within the Asian culture, and that's something that I've always liked to explore and always like to dine in, rather than going out to certain places where there's not much flavor out there. And personally, I feel that I am proud to be an Asian because of how I look and how I've been raised to the sense where now I'm starting to learn how to love myself as a whole and learning how to be myself and how to be authentic. And that's the reason why, I'm going to embrace who I am and I'm going to be proud of who I am. A proud Asian.
Yeah, basically I think I agree with everyone so far. I am proud being Asian because even though I know I am, culturally wise, I don't follow the full Asian culture and live by it. And yeah, blood I am, but I don't feel it either. So I'm okay with it and I'm happy with it. And yeah, that's it.
So I don't know if this is allowed, but after hearing all the answers, I would like to change where I stand to, hell yes, I'm proud to be an Asian. Anyone else?
I agree with you in a sense.
So I'm 100% proud to be Asian. I think that you need to be comfortable in your skin and where you come from. I personally was born in Fiji, so I consider myself Fijian Indian, which I know is not looked at as a real, ethnicity or a real nationality. But I'm literally born in Fiji and I am Indian, so that's what I consider myself. And growing up, we had the platform like Bollywood to look up to, so there was always representation for me to, see on TV or movies. So I don't really ever see myself like looking down on myself in any way.
And that's the wrap. Thank you all for coming. Let's hug it out. Let's hug it out. Let's hug it out. What would you like to say? To Quasar.
I love what you guys are doing. And that's a wrap.